Hey guys, Alex from 7th Hour Films back again with Kaguya-Sama, Love is War. Last time around, Shirogane can't speak. That's because Shirogane was having troubles because Kaguya was avoiding him, and Kei wanted all the juicy deets. I'm sorry, I shouldn't say that, I'm 26. Anywho, she wanted she wanted to know everything, but she's kind of a tsundere with her brother where she doesn't want to just talk to him. But at the end, she did at least give him some advice that it's like, hey, maybe she's avoiding you because she does like you, So communications are mending between the Shirogane siblings. Miyuki Shirogane wants to dance. He can't dance. And Fujiwara was like, I'm done with you. And then Kaguya tried teaching him. And then Fujiwara got jealous, and then he learned how to dance. Hang on. Kobachi Osaragi wants to crack down. There we go. Oh my god. It's so far away, and it's such tiny text I can't see. What's her name again? Kobachi. Yes, her. Glasses girl. She basically told the story because she found that she observed that Miko and Ishigami are very similar, but they can't get along. But they are both people who kind of quietly fight for justices, basically, fighting injustices. Yes, words. It's the first thing in the morning, folks. And basically told the story of how Ishigami stalked a girl he had a crush on and then tried to assault her boyfriend, but he never told his side of the story and has just taken this stigma on, which leads me to believe there's something else about this story, but we'll have to see later. So it was an interesting thing, and it was basically Kobachi just having some quiet respect for Ishigami. And then Miyuki Shirogane's dad wants to find out. This is where it was the sports festival, and Kaguya ran into Papa Shirogane and didn't realize who he was and defended the president's honor. And it was all embarrassing because she was so into trying to defend him and everything, and I don't know, it was an embarrassing time, and Shirogane found them and was like, no, this is embarrassing that you met my goofy dad, because his dad is goofy AF, so that's pretty much where we left off. Yeah, like always, the reaction is down in the description and the pinned comment for your viewing pleasure, so let's go ahead and jump right into this episode of Kaguya-Sama, Love is War. Let's get going. Well, I guess if the only thing is she hates Ishigami, but is happy about everything else, I guess that's okay. I mean, it's not her fault. She's just completely ignorant to how much of a shit stain that guy was. Ishigami will be the villain to make sure that girl is happy. But also, fuck Kyoko. I mean, no, but it's not her fault. It's not her fault. She's literally ignorant. She did not watch the episode we just watched, What a fucking arc, man. Especially, too, because two of the characters really just did not like Ishigami, at the beginning. Like Miko is only really turned around. It turned around now. With Miko, it's kind of a love-hate relationship between the two of them. They both respect each other, I think, subconsciously. But they're also both, I guess it's the tsundere thing, they're both kind of tsunderes to each other, where, they'll poke at each other, They'll poke at each other to see who pisses the other off, But in a friendly way, Honestly, the way the two of them poke at each other is kind of a way only friends can, Because there's sometimes when you have your friend and you can just piss them the hell off, but in a way that still makes them kind of happy, you know? And I like, Kaguya. I mean, Kaguya always acknowledged his usefulness, Like, she acknowledged his usefulness as student treasurer, But seeing that it's like, I mean, if anything, like, the friction the two of them had is just because, honestly, that's just kind of how Kaguya is. She's just kind of icy to everyone who's not Hayasaka. No, I was like thinking, because I was about to say Fujiwara, and I was like, no, she's still icy to Fujiwara. Shirogane, I guess Shirogane, even though that took a while, that took a little bit too, technically, and it's like, Hayasaka, I guess, but it's like, that's just how she is. She's just kind of icy, but not in like a mean way, So like, to see that it's like, and you know that it's like, okay, well, how did Shirogane find out all this information about Ishigami and Ko and figure out how, what all actually went down? It's that Kaguya launched an investigation, which means Hayasaka launched an investigation and found all that information out, They probably hacked his phone. They probably hacked his phone, for God's sake, and found the video or something, I'm so glad they also said, too, that it's like, yeah, after that incident, he was paranoid, He was scared shitless. Like, I like that because it literally shows it's like he put on an act, They said he was the head of the theater club. So he put on an act in front of the crowd. But otherwise, no. The real him, it's like, no, he was scared shitless of Ishigami. Because that's the thing, it's like, when you're getting your face beaten beyond recognition, and you still have, the balls to say, oh, if you keep hitting me, I'm not going to be able to compete in the theater competition. It's like, yeah, that's the point. Now, imagine if Ishigami took your head, bashed it into a window. Then you're really not, like, you don't have the power here anymore. I mean, it's a thing of, like, in the moment, in the public perception, he had the power. But in terms of them, he did not actually have the power, and he was the one who basically lost that, Because days later, he broke up with Kyoko. He became paranoid because Ishigami wasn't writing the apology letter, Because he wasn't writing the apology letter, and eventually he transferred, So, all in all, he lost that. He lost that completely. In the moment, he won the battle, but he did not win the war. Meanwhile, Ishigami didn't realize there was a war being fought, honestly. He thought he had lost everything, but literally his inaction won him the war, The only thing he needed was for Shirogane to come in and tell him what happened, That's such a great thing. And I love, too, because you can see the chain of events that, like, after that incident, Miko, and this is an interesting thing, that Miko, fought for him, but she didn't know the story. She didn't know why that happened, What I'm guessing is, he was not allowed back into junior high. He was still keeping up with all of his grades and everything, I think. At the very least, enough to stay in the school. The only reason he wasn't being allowed back into junior high was because he wasn't writing the apology letter. And Miko looked at that and either she inferred what happened or something, or she just thought that should not be a reason to deny him school, So Miko goes to the principal to find out what happens, or goes to the principal, basically, of Shuchen High and tries to, argue the case to keep Ishigami in, because to her, that's not right, Even with the fight, that's not right to deny him when he is keeping up on all of his homework and everything, and he is going to counseling with his shitty counselor, he's still not being allowed back in just because of an apology, you know? Like, to her, that's not right. So that gets said to the principal. The principal probably, it's because of the principal that word about this gets to Shirogane, who is a first year, he's in Shuchen High, he's just ending his first year, and he hears about this and thinks something's fishy, why isn't, probably, and I guess you could even say that, Miko probably also heard that that Ishigami wasn't giving his side of the story, So that's another piece in there of, like, what's going on. So that's another reason why Miko fought for that. On top of, then, that news gets to Shirogane. It's like, okay, this dude, just broke out, just assaulted this dude. But he's not telling his side of the story. And he's doing everything, but he's not writing the apology letter. That's getting the attention of Miko. And Shirogane sees all of that, and he's like, something's going on. And so both he and Kaguya, and by extension Hayasaka, figure out everything. They say they only had fragments of information, but they're fucking smart, and they figured out, they deduced what happened. And so they looked into everything and found out that Ko was being paranoid. So he's being paranoid. He broke up with Kyoko, and then he left Shuchen anyway. And so with that, on top of the fact that, hey, this guy's really good with numbers, he'd be a great treasurer, That's how Ishigami came to be in. And it's great because it's like, because they've said before, he was a first year. I'm pretty sure he's a second year now. But he was a first year in the first season, in their last year, where they were all second years, he was a first year. So this just happened before the events of season 1. So that's why he really wasn't shown in the student council. Even though he was there, he wasn't shown for a couple months, even though they said he's not crazy. That still took a toll on him, and eventually he's worked his way into becoming friends with the rest of them, even Kaguya. I love when it's like, don't worry, you'll run as hard as you can, just picture you're running away from me. It's like, I love that. It's like I love how Kaguya does that, She's supporting him in her own way, Just picture you're running away from me. It's like, she knows, and she's proud of him. She's so proud and happy for him, It's so great. It's so great. Fuck that guy. We say fuck Kyoko, but at the same time, it's like, yeah, she's ignorant, As far as she sees, it's because Ishigami beat the shit out of her boyfriend that he broke up and, changed schools. That's all she sees. But, so, that's fine. If she hates Ishigami, that's one thing. But if everything else in her life is okay, if she's away from the actual human feces that was her boyfriend, then that's fine, But fuck that human feces. Jesus Christ. You know what I just thought of? This is like the happy ending of the Junpei arc of Jujutsu Kaisen, where instead of meeting Mahito and just being a boring arc overall, it was, no, he met Shirogane and everything was better, this is so much better than that. I mean, there's other reasons. Let's not go into that. Jesus, I rant enough about Jujutsu Kaisen on Jujutsu Kaisen. We don't need to talk about it here. So, and I just like that moment too, when she's just... And I mean, and the thing too is, it's like, the fact that she does hold a grudge, you know? Like, it's not a thing, like, you know, because high school romances, they can be fleeting. Now, there are some, obviously, like Kaguya and Shirogane, that are a lot deeper, but high school romances can be fleeting, you know? And the fact that she still, a year, probably almost nearly 2 years later, holds a grudge against Ishigami for Ko breaking up with her, that's kind of bad, you know? The fact that she will yell in front of so many people, "You should not be happy," is just like, that is kind of a shitty thing. That's the actual shitty thing against Kyoko, is that she's holding that grudge, you know? So, but again, Ishigami is willing to be the bad guy if it means she gets to smile, you know? And I do like that moment when it's like, finally, like, he's overcome everything. He's overcome it all, and he just says, "Go to hell, dumbass," and then he runs. And even though he lost the race, the real race was the friends he made along the way. I love that this is all predicated on he tried to interact with normies, and he realized they're actually good people. Also, all the trauma that he has endured over the past year and a half or so. But that cheerleading squad, they're actually good people. So, do I feel bad for calling them the scum of the earth 2 episodes ago? Yeah, but I mean, in a sense, I completely relate to Ishigami. I never really had that moment. Now, granted, like, I wasn't just a douche, you know? Like, if there was a quote-unquote normie that interacted with me, I was fine. It's the activities that I'm not really into, you know? Which I described 2 episodes ago, like the icebreaker stuff and some of the shit where it's just like, I don't want to be a part of this, you know? Like, you know what? It really was a thing of like, you know what? I'm sure you guys are fine. You're nice people. I don't want to be a part of this. And I wasn't. And that's fine. You know? Like, Ishigami honestly didn't need to do all of this, but it's good that he did. You know? It's good that he did. And that really is it. Because it's like, yeah, because, I mean, I've talked to plenty of people in school. Plenty of normies, I suppose. But I was always civil. You know? I was always civil with them. I didn't just assume they were shit people, you know? Again, that's really it. They're not shit people. They just have some shit things that they do. Like, I mean, it's the same thing. Like, he literally said, it's like, yeah, I still think this cheer is lame, but what am I gonna do? You know? That's really it. It's like, it's the normie, like, games and stuff where I'm just like, okay, I'm not into this. Like, we're not into the same things. We don't have the same interests. But doesn't mean that either of us are bad people. Just because we're different doesn't make either of us inherently bad. I was gonna say this got deep, but fuck, this whole episode is deep. So, go to hell, dumbass. I don't know why I wanted to do like a Beavis and Butthead, like, shut up, dumbass. Yeah, dumbass. The fuck is the next episode? Like, we still have one more episode this season. We got the season 2 finale next up. I don't know what we're doing next. We don't really have a ongoing plotline anymore. Like, I don't know, because last season we had the plotline at the end of going to see the fireworks, but the plotline here was Ishigami, and that's already resolved. So what? I don't know. What are we doing next episode? I guess we'll find out. But yeah, good stuff, great stuff, real fucking great stuff. and I can't wait to see where we are going next time. But that is basically it. With all of that being said, I'm Alex from 7th Hour Films, and I will see you guys next time. Take care. Alright guys, thanks for watching this video. There's a bunch of links on screen if you want to go click around any of those. There's a playlist with all of my Kaguya-Sama reactions, as well as another video you can go click on if you want. There's also a subscribe button and a Patreon button on screen, as well as other links in the description if you want to go check out any of those. See you guys later.